This is Nationwide. We're live in Abuja. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. The 2025 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week has officially opened in the United Arab Emirates capital with the Zayed Sustainability Prize. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports that a Nigerian company is one of the awardees in the 17th edition of the prize, winning $1 million for its innovative technology in food production.
The government of the United Arab Emirates invites world leaders to this stage to assess the state of sustainability efforts. President Bola Tinubu is one of the 13 leaders invited from across the world. The Emirates have been living an incredible story of turning a desert to a fertile land, and the country is now leading a direction of new possibilities, setting the pace in renewable energy and other sustainability measures.
I am pleased to announce the launch of the world's first renewable energy facility capable of providing renewable energy at scale around the clock. The nexus of next means putting people at the heart of progress. It means uniting to address global challenges. And it means recognizing that no discovery is worth making unless it helps humanity and improves lives. And that is the Zayed Sustainability Prize. And that is what the prize is all about.
Championing the cause of protecting the earth and empowering people for a sustainable future, the government of UAE is also spreading its tentacles through the Zayed Sustainability Prize, recognizing and supporting outstanding bodies in this direction. And then, a proud moment for Nigeria, and indeed the president, as a Nigerian company won a prize in food production out of the 6 major categories of the prizes.
And the winner is Nafarm Foods. Congratulations!
So we make hybrid solar food dryers for drying food, fruits, vegetables. We also support other cottage food processors, which is the center, that's the core of our business.
Nafarm Foods is based in Kaduna State with operations currently in 6 northern states.
So with this award, we believe we are going to reach 16 other states soonest. And it will really go a long way.
Our winners today, changing the world.
The summit continues with other events, including high-level sessions of world leaders. In Abu Dhabi, Musbao Danwahab, NTA News.
Back at home, Senate reconvenes plenary after the Christmas and New Year break with renewed commitments to work towards improving citizens' livelihood. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, in an address, said the Red Chamber will work meticulously on the 2025 budget proposal under consideration with the usual patriotic zeal. He also hinted plans to further amend the Electoral Act.
As the nation begins preparations for the next electoral cycle in 2027, we have a unique opportunity to strengthen our democracy by tinkering with our Electoral Act, to strengthen the congresses, primaries, etc., and conventions. Electoral reform is not just a legislative duty, it is a moral imperative. It is our chance to give Nigerians and the entire people a system that is transparent, that is credible, and reflective of their will and the will of all citizens. Every vote must count.
The Senate has, in the meantime, confirmed appointees of President Tinubu for the Southeast and Northwest Development Commissions. In another development, the House of Representatives has passed the resolution advocating increased funding, provision of modern equipment and enhanced welfare packages for the armed forces of Nigeria. At the resumption of plenary, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who stood in for Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, commended the sacrifices and heroism of the armed forces in protecting the territorial integrity of the nation at all times. Committee of the Whole. Just a slight mix-up there, but let's also tell you that the Senate's ad hoc committee mandated to look into grey areas of the tax reform bills has met with the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform team. At the end of the meeting, which held behind closed doors, both sides expressed optimism that the interests of all Nigerians remain the priority.
We are in the process. We have agreed amongst ourselves that we must synthesize the whole processes to ensure that at the end of the day, we give to Nigerians what Nigerians want, and that is a law that serves the purpose of all Nigerians. Yes. So that is where we are now, and hopefully by the time we meet again, we will finalize.
And then you will see the consensus is that the bill is, all the bills that we have, is what the country needs as at now. But because there will always, when you have this kind of reform, a situation where more clarification, more education is needed. So what has happened today is that you see the framer of the law, you see the Attorney General, you see the lawmaker, and all of us, the operators and everything. All those things you call gray area were discussed, identified, and then so the judgment is not to be made. It's just for us to continue the engagement, the consultation, which based on your observation have been positive.
Okay, now let's go back to the report I was about to serve earlier, which was the House of Representatives have equally passed a resolution which is advocating increased funding and the provision of modern equipment and enhanced welfare packages for the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. At the resumption of plenary, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu stood in for Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, commended the sacrifices and heroism of the armed forces in protecting the territorial integrity of the nation at all times.
Demonstrating their courage and the growing efficacy of coordinated military operations. The House remains steadfast in supporting these efforts through legislative measures that enhance security frameworks and address emerging threats.
The House also calls on the relevant committees of the House to regularly assess and provide recommendations for the improvement of the armed forces operations, ensuring their continued efficiency and effectiveness.
That this House do amend this motion to include an offer of automatic scholarship through basic, senior secondary and tertiary education for the children of our fallen heroes, so that this will motivate the forces, the armed forces, to do better while in their line of duty.
I look forward to a situation where, as a country, we display this solemnity on the occasion of the interaction of Armed Forces Remembrance Day by offering services and visiting the homes of fallen soldiers and men and women who are on the battlefront.
Committee of the Whole, the House adopted the report of the Conference Committee, which harmonized the Southwest Development Commission Bill as passed by the Senate and House of Representatives.
That the House has just passed, and which means that it will be transmitted by the clerk to the National Assembly straight to the President for his assent. And once that is done, Bukhari, Southwest Development Commission has come to stay. Part of the neglects we've had in the past in the Southwest, it's been accommodated in the version of the bill: flood, erosion, and the certification of our forests, and of course, increased funding for developmental programs in terms of agriculture, in terms of human development index that we have measured, and then that the Southwest Development Commission will want to. You are going to have a commission in place that will look at all these, and then yearly and periodically they will be assessed and then be preparing budgets.
Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has commended the Nigerian Armed Forces for their dedication and commitment in the protection of the nation's territorial integrity and internal security. The president stated this in a message at an event organized by the Defense Headquarters to celebrate troops for their gallantry in the fight against insurgency, promising to continue equipping the Nigerian military with necessary resources and support to effectively combat security challenges.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria is more than just a military establishment. It represents the cornerstone of our national security, the guardians of our sovereignty, the embodiment of our collective resolve to uphold the peace and integrity of our dear nation.
As we gather for this celebration and Remembrance Day dinner and awards night, we pay tribute to the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our nation. Tonight, we are not only remembering the sacrifice of our fallen heroes who have laid down their lives to safeguard our territorial integrity and national sovereignty, but also celebrate the doggedness and bravery of our officers across the armed forces.
The Chief of Defense Staff and Chief of Army Staff further charged troops to strive for excellence, professionalism, and embrace interagency collaboration as the fight against insurgency heightens.
Abilities, but in a collective commitment to protect and serve our nation. We must remain dutiful and resolute in our fight against terrorism, insurgency, secessionism, and other sundry crimes against the collective peace and aspirations as Nigerians.
These events are part of activities commemorating 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The security of lives and property of the citizens is the foremost responsibility of every government in power. In fulfillment of this mandate, Governor Peter Mba's administration in Enugu State has added technology-driven initiatives to conventional approach of fighting crimes and provide safer and secure environments for the citizens and investors in the state. Correspondent Okori takes a look at these security initiatives and their impact on the people.
Insecurity not only retards growth and development of any society, but also destroys public confidence and trust in government to deliver on its agenda. Aware of this, Governor Peter Mba has reinforced the conventional approach of securing lives and property by introducing latest technologies such as the establishment of a well-equipped command and control center, launch of surveillance patrol vehicles, and installation of CCTV cameras at strategic places, among others, for peace and economic prosperity in the state.
Recently established or put together a security trust fund for the state. So we are encouraged working under him, and his support is second to none.
Other respondents say the laudable initiatives have contributed to the improved nightlife in the state.
The security situation in Enugu now has improved. We can observe some cameras installed in Enugu. It's an improvement.
We thank God for having Dr. Peter Mba, who has been trying all his best to keep a very good security in Enugu State.
With these calculated moves yielding positive results, it is expected that other leaders could borrow a leaf from Enugu State to address insecurity in parts of the country. In Enugu, Chika Okori, NTA News.
Let's connect with Chika in Enugu to have more insight on this development in combating security challenges in Enugu and making the state safer. Chika, give us more insight about this technology-driven initiative of the governor to make Enugu state safer.
Honestly, like the report you watch, it says it all. But however, I want to take you a bit far from here to equally let you know that according to Section 14, subsection 2B of the 99 Constitution as amended, that the provision of security is the primary purpose of every government. And actually, looking at this, the governor of Enugu State and His Excellency, Dr. Peter Mba, is actually aware of the import of that section of that authority book, and that is why merely he was inaugurated on 2023 May 29th. He swung into action to provide a lot of things to make sure that security of lives and property in Enugu State will be intact. The old way of approaching security, but with it he added new technologies, and from the report you heard the command control center designated here in Enugu. That center is actually in charge of taking surveillance, analyzing data, and equally helping the security agencies to track criminal activities in the state. And the governor did not even stop there. The visit of the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to the state, he actually commissioned or launched the 150 patrol vehicles which is handed over to the police, and they're using it to take surveillance. And that vehicle, there is a toll-free number attached to it, and that toll-free number is 117. Anywhere you are in the state, once you dial the number, in case of emergency, you receive quick and immediate response immediately. May call it traffic issue or some other activities that may hinder movements in the state, or free free for people to actually live free without fear of any intimidation or any other sort of crime. That is the work they do. The governor did not stop there. Most people don't even know that whenever you see a security agent, that he or she is wearing a body camera, which means as you're doing anything, the person can actually monitor you and have you on tape. And right where we are standing in Enugu is actually Pass and Check bus stop. This is one of the busiest area in the capital city, and if you just look right behind me, you will see a CCTV camera that is closed circuit television monitoring activities within this area, and that camera is 360 degrees. It turns 360 to capture so many things. While they at the command and control room, the monitor is, you maybe commit a crime here. Before you move a distance, you notice that you've been apprehended. To be honest with you, there is no safe haven for criminals and their accomplices here in Enugu State. And because of the situation, I want to take you, a little away by explaining the benefits. Actually, we have influx of people in the capital city and in suburbs, investors and tourists that see it as the best place to be. And I want to use this opportunity to tell anybody in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, people in diaspora, and live because of their life. We have 5.
Guas Chika Okori gives us an update about the introduction of technology into the security architecture of the state and how it is really impacting economically on the residents of the states and also those who intend to visit. Well, from Enugu, let's go over to our Lagos Network Center, and Adiola will be our guide.
Thank you, Ayodeji. Nigeria's armed forces, especially those fallen heroes, are the reason for Nigeria's indivisibility, having paid the supreme price in protecting the territorial integrity of the nation. As the country prepares to celebrate 2025 Armed Forces and Remembrance Day, the spotlight is on the sacrifices made by ex-servicemen. Joel Bokbola reports that Lagos residents want more recognition for the legionnaires beyond the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day.
The task of protecting the territorial integrity of Nigeria is a mandate jealously guarded by the armed forces, and many a times this comes with a huge price. The legionnaires believe one of the key components of nation building is selfless sacrifice, and the Nigerian armed forces since independence in 1960 have been doing this by ensuring there is peace and unity. These are some of the achievements the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day is highlighting. Apart from protecting the territorial integrity of the nation, tackling internal security challenges has been an integral part of their daily routine. These officers and veterans are proud of their profound impact and contributions to nation building.
It's a thing of joy when you look back that you have served your father's land. It's always a thing of joy that you have made a great sacrifice to serve your father's land. And our father's land is this great nation, Nigeria.
We are talking of nation building. I don't think there is any agency or organization that such accolade should be given to other than the Nigerian military. Because it is as a result of this singular factor that the military sacrifices their lives.
For Nigerians, these sacrifices have not gone unnoticed.
They are really serving this nation a lot. They fight for us. They want to do them well.
Government is doing some possible best to make sure they are being remembered. Virtually every year, they lay rest on their destiny, and then the entire country remember them. And at the same time, giving something to the family of the fallen heroes. So I think on that aspect, I can say they are doing their best.
The consensus is for relevant authorities to do more for the war veterans so as to encourage more Nigerians to contribute to nation building. In Lagos, Joel Bokbola, NTA News.
Seeking and finding help in all aspects of life is one of the positive coping strategies that can help one, especially children, overcome problems and maintain well-being. Experts in child psychology are by this advocating for intentional and improved relationship between children and parents, which would build trust, foster positive emotional development, and ultimately strengthen the parents-child bond that would end child abuse. Adejoke Odeka will tell us more.
According to the World Health Organization, 6 out of 10 children under age 5 suffer physical or psychological violence at the hands of parents and caregivers. With the increase in child abuse, which includes physical, sexual, emotional, and even psychological maltreatment or neglect of a child, there is a cause for alarm. Are people oblivious of the warning signs?
Of what child abuse is, and it can be stopped by teaching people what is right, how to treat children.
Look at it with a exploitable hand at all, because it has become a cankerworm in this country.
Experts say child abuse should not only be attached to sexual offenses alone, but to any physical violence or maltreatment directed at a child under the age of 18 by an adult.
Parents should educate their children on what abuse and what violence against them actually is. Parents and guardians should befriend their children. Many parents are not friends with their children, either because of the nature of their work or because of the nature of even their religion.
In order to prevent and ultimately end the growing number of child abuse, parents and guardians should foster healthy relationships with their children and wards from the elementary level for great communication, as it would create a safe space for open, honest dialogue, allowing children to feel heard and be understood. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide will continue in just when we return from this break.
To Jos. Chief of Defense Staff General Mr.
Musa is tasking the Nigerian army to go after criminals and any form of criminality to keep Nigeria safe. This was while addressing troops at the Operation Safe Haven Frontline Sector 8 in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. Indiang and Abuja reports.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, as part of his visit to military formations across the country, says all sectors are working together to ensure that responsibilities are taken seriously. He says their mandate is to go all out and rid the country of criminals for peace and progress of the country.
The President has continued to support us and has mandated us that this year we must make greater difference, and that's what we are promising. The idea of coming around is to see the troops and at least raise their morale, to know that we're together with them. So far, so good. Things are going well. We're heading towards a greater success, and we're happy with the way things are out. We want Nigerians to continue to support members of the armed forces and other security agencies. They do so much, and we'll continue to do more. We're not going to relent.
The Chief of Defense Staff warned troops to desist from any act of indiscipline and irresponsibility for optimal service to the nation.
They should not allow themselves to be used negatively. Each of them that has this talent should come out openly. We'll take him with that, we'll connect him, give him a platform for him to also come and present himself and be able to do what he can. God has given them talents to use, and it is good that we have these platforms. You can see we have something like a mortar launcher. We have all these fabricated. These are revolvers. They fire almost automatic.
Inspecting armory that was recovered, the Chief of Defense Staff commended the troops and calls on those with such skills to use it for the greater good of the people, saying measures have been put in place to enhance the operational capabilities of the Nigerian Armed Forces. From Mangu, Nigerian and Abuja, NTA News.
Plateau government says it is working towards reopening the NYSC camp in Mangu for the use of corps members that will be posted to the state. Governor Caleb Mutfwang stated this in Mangu while assessing the facility. Ijoma Ozomina reports.
The NYSC orientation camp was abandoned due to insecurity and the need to protect corps members posted to the state. Governor Caleb Mutfwang, in company of the Secretary to the Government of the state and other government officials, inspected the facility with a view to reviving it. He described the facility as a great asset to the state and will not be allowed to rot away.
There is no need to continue to keep this place idle. This, like that we urgently need to intervene to make sure that the building comes to an optimal condition and that all the facilities here are adequate. I am sure by the time we are done, many coppers will be begging to be posted to Plateau State.
Since the security situation has greatly improved in the state, the building will be put to optimal use after rehabilitation.
The Security Council had visited here and said we could beef up security and everyone would be secure. I'm glad that since that time, the security situation on the plateau has improved tremendously. This can be attested to by the fact that this is one of the most peaceful Christmas and New Year celebrations we've had in a long time.
It will be recalled that the camp was put out of use some years ago due to security concerns. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
That is our contribution from Jos. It's back to Ayodeji in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thanks, Biokisu. The Police Service Commission has taken decisive actions on 29 disciplinary cases involving senior police officers, approving the dismissal and prosecution of 2 assistant superintendents of police, ASPs, for misconduct, corruption, and acts unbecoming of public officers. A statement by the Commission indicates that 6 others faced rank deductions, including 2 superintendents who were demoted to deputy superintendents and 3 assistant superintendents demoted to inspectors. Additionally, 10 senior officers received severe reprimands for offenses such as unauthorized disclosure of official secrets and dishonesty, while 9 others were reprimanded One deputy commissioner of police was exonerated and an assistant received a warning letter. Meanwhile, the commission also approved significant promotions, elevating 11 commissioners of police to assistant inspectors general of police and promoting 16 deputy commissioners to commissioners, among other advancements affecting over 2,000 officers nationwide. In another development, the Nigeria Police Force has demanded a public apology and retraction from Amnesty International over a publication on August 2024 nationwide protests. The NPF, in a letter dated January 6, 2025, described the claims as unsubstantiated, false, and damaging to its reputation. The statement added that the report wrongfully accused the police of human rights violations, brutality, and excessive force during the 2024 protests, and maintained that it acted with professionalism, restraint, and adherence to global standards, even in the face of provocation and violence. The force highlighted evidence, including national media coverage, to refute the allegations, emphasizing its role in protecting peaceful protesters while addressing criminal elements who exploited the protests. Similarly, the NPF expressed concern that the publication undermines public trusts and demoralizes officers dedicated to safeguarding lives and property, and demanded a formal retraction and apology within 7 days, warning of potential legal action if Amnesty International fails to comply. While reaffirming its commitments to transparency and professionalism, the NPF reiterated its dedications to upholding law and order in Nigeria. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has received the new permanent Secretary, State House, Temitope Fashidemi, at her office in the villa. The meeting, which was held behind closed doors, is to enable the new permanent secretary get familiar with the intervention programs of the First Lady towards supporting their smooth delivery for the benefit of women, youth, and vulnerable groups in the country. Speaking after the closed-door meeting, the permanent secretary expresses his readiness to establish needed frameworks to support both the president and the First Lady in their renewed hope agenda.
So it's whatever intervention she's, even I'm coming from Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Even there in agriculture, she has projects that she's doing all over the country, where we have been instrumental in supporting that as well. So even in agri, and she has projects all over the place. So now in State House is for me to facilitate, her movement and movement of our team in achieving all these projects to ensure that there's efficient delivery of services.
State House there. Let's pause for some messages. Nationwide, we'll be back. You're welcome back. Time now to go over to Kaduna, where Ajingi has the next set of reports. Over to you, Ajingi.
For joining us in Kaduna. The Federal Court of Appeal sitting in Kaduna has reserved judgment on the case challenging the appointment of Ahmed Nuhu Bamali as the 19th Emir of Zazzau. The case is an appeal by the former Wazir in Zazzau, Aminu, who is dissatisfied with the earlier judgment of the Kaduna State High Court, which dismissed the case for lack of merit. The report. The lawyers representing the appellant and the 13 respondents arrived in the Court of Appeal Kaduna Division with their legal documents and case files to present their facts on the matter before the judge. The lawyers representing the former Wazir in Zaza, who is the appellant, presented their case before the court, where the respondents urged the court to dismiss the appeal.
We went to court at the High Court, and when he filed the case, we challenged his right to come to court, and because he was out of time. And the court agreed with us at the trial court, and they
adjourned today for hearing. Even though some of the respondents filed motion to file their respondents' brief out of time, those motions were granted. And already I came prepared with my response to their respondents' brief. So thank God the justices allow us to file our reply brief this morning. It was deemed this morning.
After hearing submissions from both parties, the Court of Appeal reserved its judgment on the matter, left with a 3-month window period to review and deliberate on the facts presented before delivering a final verdict according to the provision of the law.
Today the matter came up for hearing of the appeal in respect of the emirship of the Zozo. The processes that were filed out of time were deemed properly filed today, and the coast was clear. At the end of the day, the appeal was heard, and then judgment has been reserved.
Both parties now await the court's decision on the matter, which had previously been struck out by the Kaduna State High Court before being appealed by the appellant. Governor Abubakar Yusuf of Kano State has called on Nigerians to continue offering support to the families of fallen heroes by extending compassion beyond the Armed Forces Remembrance and Celebration Day. The governor made this appeal during his fund in Kano State. Abdullahi Mustafa completes the report.
On one side of the hall, veterans and widows of fallen heroes of the Nigerian Armed Forces are gathered, while on the other, government representatives and military command chiefs from Kano stand in solidarity. They have come together for the launch of the 2025 Armed Forces Appeal Fund in Kano. It was not a celebration, but a moment dedicated to supporting legionnaires and the families of the nation's fallen heroes. Governor Abubakar Yusuf, represented by the Director General of the Special Services Directorate, Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Umaru, announced a donation of 10 million naira from Kano State Government. An equal contribution was made by the 44 local government councils of Kano, in addition to a personal contribution of 2 million naira from the governor.
The reality is that the spouses and dependents of these breadwinners, in most cases, experience trauma and deprivation.
Further contributions of 2.6 million naira were placed by the heads of various military and paramilitary organizations, as well as the governor's representative. As part of the day's activities, a special prayer session was held by members of the Nigerian Legion and service commanders. They call on Nigerians to work together in promoting national unity and security, emphasizing these as key pillars for achieving sustainable development. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
And that's our contributions from Kaduna. Ayodeji Makinde. We take it up from here in our Abuja studio. Ayodeji, over to you.
Thanks, Ajingi in Kaduna. I'll bring you this breaking news. The Nigerian Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation rejects the ministry's 2025 appropriation of 8.9 billion naira on account of inadequate funding. Details will come in our subsequent bulletins. The Economic Community of West African States and the United Nations have reaffirmed commitments to strengthen ties in political cooperation, security and human development. This was when the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Omar Aliou Touré, played host to the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, for high-level discussions aimed at deepening collaboration between the two organizations in Abuja. The leaders highlighted key areas including political cooperation, peace and security, trade liberalization, education, regional integration and human development, as well as mutual interests for enhanced engagements. ECOWAS and the United Nations underscored the importance of coordinated action in tackling pressing issues such as violent extremism, climate change and socio-economic inequality. Both institutions pledged to support their shared objectives and emphasized the critical role of regional organizations in achieving global goals like the 2030 Agenda, for sustainable development for the benefit of future generations. The meeting concluded with both parties agreeing to establish follow-up mechanisms to ensure tangible progress in the identified areas of collaboration. "305 pilgrims to the Holy Land have been told to understand the true meaning of pilgrimage and use the opportunity for spiritual rejuvenation and prayers for Nigeria." Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christians Pilgrims Commission, NCPC, Bishop Stephen Adigbite, gave the admonition while seeing off pilgrims. Correspondent Dennis Adigwe reports.
The wonderful sights and glorious scenery of the Holy Land are prime locations for millions of faithful every year. These 305 pilgrims from Jos Plateau State, making up batch 3 of the exercise, are uniformly attired as they take their first steps on this spiritual journey of a lifetime. For the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, Bishop Stephen Adigbite, this is an experience that must be given all reverence that it deserves, as it is not merely a jamboree, but a time to connect, reflect, and pray fervently to God Almighty.
When they go to the Holy Land, they will see the glory of God. They will pray for a great nation, pray for Mr. President, pray for everybody working with him, and that by the prayer they are going to offer, the Lord will hearken to our cry. And it's going to be well with our nation, and it's going to be well with them themselves. Because when you go to the Holy Land, something significant, glorious must come to your life.
When occasions like this come up, we are delighted. That is what the Bible says. We have the moral and biblical injunction to pray for our leaders.
We were given the mandate to mobilize our people. Then we also wrote a memo to our governor, and he has sent to our memo.
My expectation is to have an encounter with Christ, walk where he walked.
It is just to go, see what I've always believed.
My expectation is that I will have good time to reflect on the reality of the Word of God.
The track record of Nigerians who have embarked on this spiritual journey is described as excellent, and they are urged to positively project Nigeria's image in the Holy Land and be good ambassadors. In Abuja, Dennis Adigunloye, NTA News.
As preparation for the 2025 exercise gets underway, the federal government has signed a memorandum of understanding with Saudi Arabia to facilitate seamless Hajj in 2025. A statement by the media aide to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abdulkadir Al-Qasim, says Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga facilitated the signing of the MOU with the chairman of the National Hajj Commission, Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman, and signed the Deputy Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Dr. Abdul Fattah Mashat, signed on behalf of Saudi Arabia. Al-Qasim explains that the MOU will facilitate the smooth conduct of Hajj pilgrims for Nigerian pilgrims, as they outline the responsibilities and expectations of both nations, including accommodation, transportation, and healthcare services, thereby enhancing the overall welfare of Nigerian pilgrims. All right, and that's nationwide. But before we go, let's quickly remind you of the breaking news that we had earlier, that the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation has rejected the ministry's 2025 appropriation of $8.9 billion on account of inadequate funding. Of course, details will be on the NTA. I'm Ayo Makinde from all of us here in Abuja. Good evening.